came with you to be part of something. The Empire cannot win. It's a different kind of mission. If it goes up in flames,
it will burn very brightly.
But if I'm giving up everything, I want to win. We have to. We must stand together. We will be crushed.
Resistance is absurd.
It's a weapon.
They're building a weapon.
The monster will come for us all!
Revolution is not for the saying. You're right here, and you're ready to fight!
There's a future here for those who dare. Welcome to the rebellion.
Welcome back, everyone. It's Charlie. Star Wars dropped a brand new Andor Season 2 trailer. There's a whole bunch of stuff going on here, so we'll break it all down. A whole bunch of Easter eggs. It is meant to be the final season. Like, this is it. They're airing episodes in 3-episode chunks, and it'll be a couple years in his life, closing the gap to the beginning of Rogue One between this and the end of Season 1. So they're basically speedrunning 12 episodes over the course of 4 weeks to show the actual formation of the formal rebellion. That's the speech that Mon Mothma is giving to the Senate during this. Basically, she's putting Palpatine on blast to the rest of the Senate during this, talking about the Gorman massacre. We're watching that go down during the trailer footage. But I know there's a ton of questions about what's going on the side too, because you have Darth Vader, you have the Emperor, they're searching for the rebels. You also have the Empire and Orson Krennic finishing construction of the Death Star around the time that Rogue One is about to begin too. So if you're brand new to the channel, I'll be doing videos for all the episodes. Be sure to subscribe to get everything. Just starting at the beginning of the trailer and going through shot by shot. So in the voiceover, he's talking about coming with someone. He's basically talking to Luthen. There's a speech that they have where they're talking to each other. They break it up across the entire trailer, where it's basically Andor stating his purpose, like the whole reason why he's doing this, why he came to the rebellion, why he's helping them out. While on the other side of this, Luthen is also explaining to him what's going to happen if things go badly. Like, if it goes up in flames, it'll burn brightly. He's talking about the rebellion itself. Like, if the Empire is able to stop us, it's going to go up in flames spectacularly.
If it goes up in flames,
it will burn very brightly.
Now, obviously, we've seen the events of Rogue One, we've seen the original trilogy a billion times, so we know what winds up happening. The rebellion does not go up in flames. The Empire winds up being the thing to actually go up in flames. So Luthen's statement is kind of ironic in this context, because at this point in the timeline, they still don't know if the rebellion's going to work out. Fast forward several years in their timeline, and it winds up being the Empire that goes up spectacularly in flames. In a couple giant Death Star explosions, not one, but 2 Death Stars. Not totally clear which of the missions he's on in which part of the timeline of the episodes when he's walking through this hallway here. You can kind of chart the timeline and the episodes based on the outfits that he's wearing. This is meant to be the Gorman massacre here. There are a bunch of different shots of it that they break across the entire trailer. So the whole thing with the Gorman massacre is it was this huge major crystallizing event in the formation of the formal rebellion as you know it during the original trilogy, like the big organization of the rebellion that fought the Empire in big wars. This group here is protesting the Empire's oppression of their planet. They're called the Gorman Front. They're just meant to be this own small group that forms in this city here. Like, they're not part of the larger formal rebellion yet. Like, they're just protesting the Empire in general, like people would protest the government. What wound up happening is that because the Imperial authorities, the Emperor, didn't really take the rebellion that seriously, they're like, nobody really cares about these people here. We'll shut this down hardcore. So they roll out the Imperial troopers here. You see them roll in, try to shut down this protest. It turns violent. Then they start firing and wind up killing all these people. Hundreds of thousands of people wind up dying. The Empire tries to keep it quiet, but because a lot of the rebellion was actually here on the planet when this was going down, like Andor is meant to be here on the planet while this is going down, they wind up spreading the news far and wide, and Mon Mothma puts Palpatine on blast, blaming him for the massacre, and it winds up tipping the galaxy in favor of the rebellion. Like, it drives way more support for the rebellion in a way that the Empire and the Emperor never thought would happen. So it was a huge miscalculation on the part of the Empire, thinking they could get away with killing these protesters here. And it winds up being the defining event that pushes all the disparate rebel cells into forming into the actual formal rebellion, like the larger organization led by Mon Mothma.
This massacre is proof that our self-appointed emperor is little more than a lying executioner.
They actually wind up covering the aftermath of the Gorman massacre during Star Wars Rebels, where Mon Mothma put Palpatine on blast. She wound up being exiled for doing that and then hunted, but then basically delivered this giant address to the entire galaxy, telling them about the Gorman massacre and basically explaining how the Emperor was responsible for everything. So in the trailer, when she talks about the monster coming for you, that's basically her putting Palpatine on blast. So another part of this season will be showing you how Mon Mothma went from just being this really powerful senator that was very rich trying to fund the rebellion under the table to actually full on being the leader of the rebellion, like the single leader of the rebellion, and them actually working in a more organized way. This is just a scene of Dedra on Coruscant. There are a couple of different scenes of her throughout the trailer, mostly through the Imperial Security Bureau, but there's another weird scene of her later having what looks like a genuine panic attack, so not totally clear what her storyline is going to culminate in this season. Like, where does she wind up at the end of this season? We do not see her anywhere during Rogue One. Like, we don't see her during the original trilogy as far as we know, too, so don't know if she winds up dying spectacularly in some crazy way, or if she just winds up somewhere and they retcon her into the later canon. Typically with characters like her, you go one of two ways, like either she turns and starts helping the rebellion eventually, or things end horribly for her. This just seems like a scene of Andor talking to Bix while they're on a mission. Based on the uniform that he's wearing, this might be when they're stealing the TIE Avenger. This is part of a bunch of different scenes where it seems like the Empire comes for a bunch of his friends who are harvesting grain, it looks like. I don't know if this is meant to be on the same planet that they were on during Season 1, but it seems like a lot of his friends, after the big attack, the big protests in the city where they pushed the Empire back, they all went somewhere else and they're all working together in this field. Then for whatever reason, the Empire rolls up on them and it seems like they try to arrest them. It also seems like Andor uses the TIE Avenger to try and help them too. This would probably look a little familiar. It's Saw Gerrera inside his normal lair, his base that we saw him in during Rogue One, staring at Jedha, the city there with the Star Destroyer above it that we saw during Rogue One. The whole reason why the Star Destroyer was there at the old Jedi Temple was because they were harvesting Kyber crystals for the super laser that the Death Star uses. If it wasn't clear, the reason why the Death Star's super laser is so powerful is because it uses Kyber crystals. Same crystals that Jedi use in their lightsabers. This is meant to be Velsartha and Cinta on some other different mission, not sure which block of episodes this is going to wind up in. There are a couple of scenes of him stealing the TIE Avenger broken up across the trailer, where you see the stormtroopers coming rushing to the bay to find out what the hell is going on. Just going to yoink this special, more powerful type of TIE prototype. Mon Mothma talking to this person saying we must stand together or we'll be crushed, that's probably the other Chandrillin banker that she met during Season 1, who was also sympathetic to the rebellion and trying to help her with her problem, basically dealing with her accounting issue because the Empire had started poking into people's accounts and looking at the flow of money, so they were about to find out that Mon Mothma had been funding the rebellion. We get a whole bunch of Orson Krennic at the Imperial Security Bureau talking about the Death Star. Notice he says, resistance is absurd. Feels like a very Star Trek kind of thing to say, resistance is futile. He's supposed to be a pretty big character this season. Then we get more Rogue One characters, K2SO, just doing funny things as throwing this Imperial trooper off of the bridge here. RIP to this guy. We will see how many cameos we get from other Rogue One characters like Galen or Jyn Erso. They've been kind of cagey about whether or not we'll see some of those characters. This is meant to be Clea talking about the quote-unquote weapon, the Death Star, essentially, to someone. Notice because we are earlier in the timeline, there is no super laser inside here because that's literally the opening scene of Rogue One with them lowering the super laser into the actual Death Star itself. There's a brief shot of Saw Gerrera's troops getting ready to go on a mission here. We get a little speech from Saw Gerrera trying to give everybody a pep talk before their mission. This scene of Luthen looking like he's slicking his hair back is probably when he's meeting some Imperial figure, some powerful person inside his shop. We will see what other kind of Easter eggs show up in there this season. That was just like a treasure trove of different Easter eggs from places all over the Star Wars canon, even some Indiana Jones Easter eggs in his shop during Season 1. One of the funny things about that too is that there was a comic book that actually tied the Indiana Jones canon to the Star Wars canon, because remember, one of the biggest tropes of Star Wars stories is that it was all happening a long time ago, so Indiana Jones, who looks for antiquities, winds up finding the Millennium Falcon like it's an ancient wreckage, so it's Indiana Jones finding Han Solo stuff.
That belongs in a museum. So do you.
This looks like a scene of Bix fighting some Imperial on a ship while it's going nuts. These look like scenes of them on Chandrila during the wedding between Mon Mothma's daughter and Davos Skolden's son. Remember, he was sort of blackmailing her into this marriage, like agreeing to the marriage, because he had the information on what she was doing with her finances. But a lot of the party scenes, it seems like, are on Chandrila. They said that we'd actually be seeing more of Chandrila this season. There's a brief scene of Cyril Karn inside that cubicle farm where he actually works, talking about the future for those who dare. What he's probably talking about is liking the oppression and the order that the Empire brings, and viewing the rebellion, like everything beyond that, is just complete chaos of freedom of choice. Something weird about his brain, just absolutely broken, where he craves order and doesn't mind giving up all of his personal freedoms. So that's why he hates the rebellion so much, because it represents chaos to him. He is like the poster boy for someone who is Empire-pilled. Also wondering how his story is going to wind up at the end of the season, expecting him to go up spectacularly in flames, like probably not going to end well for him. There's a brief scene of him looking at all the security droids too, probably about to do something real shady. Looks like Leia's crying for some reason. We see some more Imperial Security Bureau. There's a quick montage of a bunch of different shots. Ending the trailer with Andor actually in the process of stealing the TIE Avenger inside the cockpit. This actually looks pretty cool too. But because there's so much going on here, like this is footage from all 12 of the episodes, if there's anything you spotted that I didn't talk about in this trailer or the previous trailers, just write it below in the comments. Expecting a bunch of surprise cameos that they did not put in the trailer though, because there are 12 episodes and there's so much going on in here they're putting into this final season. Real big reminder though, episodes are coming April 22nd and it'll start with 3 episodes. It'll be 3 episodes per week. What I'll probably do is just one video for all 3 episodes each week, so it'll be like 4 Andor episode videos. Because they finished The Mandalorian and Grogu filming a while ago, they're still polishing special effects, visual effects. We will see if they release a trailer or a teaser for that soon during Star Wars Day or during Star Wars Celebration this year. My assumption right now is that we will get something, some kind of teaser during Star Wars Celebration. Maybe, if we're lucky, we'll get some teasers for Ahsoka Season 2 at Celebration. I've already done a video for the trailer footage they released last year. Click here for all of that, and click here to learn about all the characters coming back during Ahsoka Season 2. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one.